this call. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be one of my favorite calls we've ever ran, and actually talked a lot with CJ yesterday about what exactly will be an awesome call, because we have a lot of brand new agents that start today. We have a lot of agents that start the last couple of weeks as well, and we also want to make sure our field trainers. One of the hardest part of our careers is make sure that we're field trained the right way. Okay, making sure that we're doing all the things necessary to help a new agent get off the ground and get their business. Because when you're in your first 90 to 180 days here, you're in the infancy stages of your business. It's just like a new baby. So you've got to do everything by the book, non-negotiable. You have to stay on schedule and do all the small things to guarantee yourself success. And when you're training somebody, you got to be doing the same thing that they're doing as well. It's all phase one activities. So we're going to cover right now the sales talk review activities that it takes to be successful. So if you're on this call, you've been a part of a sales talk review before, okay? Unless you were just hired like yesterday. But if you've actually gone to Sales Academy, we've all done a sales talk review. I do one with pretty much every agent that's been on here. I know Todd and Van do theirs with their agency as well. Brad has done some as well too. So we're going to do a sales talk review. We're going to cover the Elevators podcast, the episodes that you definitely 100% have to listen to whenever you're here. And we're also going to cover the homework assignments that Nicole Danwood sends out to you. If you're in your first 30 days, you've been getting emails about homework assignments. So have you been doing those? Those are things not for your trainer to do. Those are things that you need to do. I did it whenever I first started. So did Todd. So did CJ. And that's how we've been successful. So it's very important that you do these exact same things. Now, do you have to do homework assignments the rest of your life? No. But dude, definitely your first month, you got to spend at least an hour each night investing in yourself, being a student of the game to get your business off the ground. And because you're a CEO, you're literally owning your own business. So there's going to be extra work. This is not just a 9-to-5 career when you first start. It literally is. You're going to be investing a lot, clearing the decks, making sure that you get your business off to. And you'll be thinking to yourself 6 months later when you can sell a lot of premium in 3 days and live the lifestyle that you want to live. But that only comes from what you invest right now. Not what you're going to invest in tomorrow, but right now. Get the habits doing right now, today, tomorrow, the next day. And then I promise you, once you've done that for about 3 to 6 months, you will be exactly where you want to be in this career. Okay. And you'll be hitting that phase 2, phase 3 that we talked about a couple of days ago. So first, we're going to get started with the sales talk review, just kind of covering the very basics of the expectations call that we have with somebody right before they go to Sales Academy. So this is exactly what it looks like. So whenever I'm doing an expectations call with what they need to do before they go to sales school, this is exactly, here's the 10 things that we get you to commit to. Okay, so some of you guys did this call with me on Friday. Some of you guys did it with CJ. I know he did a couple sales talk reviews as well. So here are the 10 things that we need to count on you to do so you can get your business off the ground. And then there's 5 things that you can count on for us to do. So I'm going to kind of brief you through these. Make sure you kind of write these down as well, because if you're off track, if you've been here longer than 3 or 4 or 5 weeks and you're off track right now, go back to doing these activities. And I promise you, you will get back on track very quickly. Okay, very quickly. You'll be exactly where you want to be here within the next 2 weeks. So number 1 is memorize your sales talk before sales school starts. Okay, this will allow you to master your sales talk instead of just learning it. And it really helps you hit the ground running instead of just learning the words, and it really speeds up your learning process. And if you're in your first week or 2, you understand how important it is to know your sales talk, okay? It is vitally important. It's like, think about if you're going on a play in Broadway in downtown New York City, and you only know half the play, and you think you're kind of confident in yourself, I can do good just winging it, and you get on stage and there's 50,000 people in front of you, and it's a lot bigger deal than you think it is, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have studied more, right? Well, don't let that happen to you, okay? Bright lights, action on. You got to know that script before you start. So number 2 is treat sales school very, very seriously. So we have 5 total people who are in sales school this week. Make sure you treat it very seriously, because the first few weeks will show exactly who treated seriously, okay? It's not just a hangout session. Number 3, this is probably my favorite one, is it takes 21 days to form a habit. So every day, especially your first 3 weeks, non-negotiable, is hit a 2 out of 3 day every single day, which is 8 hours, 6 demos, family protected. Get through your first 100 presentations as quickly as possible. This will really help you go through that learning curve so much quicker. So no minimum of 8 hours in the field. That doesn't mean you leave your house. Your time starts when you walk into your first business, and your time stops whenever you leave your last business. Okay, so at least 8 hours of doing that. Minimum 6 presentations. If you do those 2, that's 2 out of 3. And if you get a failing protected, that's a 3 out of 3 day. So we had a lot of agents do a 3 out of 3 day yesterday, which is awesome. Number 4, enter your stats each day before you head home versus late at night. So right when you leave your last business, look at your goal card, tally up your contacts, intros, demos for the day, sales, premium, referrals, the whole 9 yards. Put them in. You can put them in on your iPad or your cell phone, doesn't matter, but put them in before you drive home. That way your stats are in, so you and your leader can have a good chat when you're driving home, called a stat call, and kind of talk about your day. And I can literally look at your stats and know exactly how your day was, right? And we have a lot of field trainers, the people field training, they can literally look at your stats and be like, oh man, you had 38 contacts today and 3 demos. Ooh, man, rough day out there, everybody. Let's talk about your approach, right? Or if you had 12 contacts and had 8 demos, but no sales, that means that, man, you have a great approach. You're sitting down with 8 out of 12 people, but we need to work on your introduction so you can get a higher closing percentage, right? So, or work on your close, your mind atmosphere, right? So there's just by looking at stats, we can kind of tell exactly how your day was and what you need to work on for the next day. Number 5, call your leader at the end of your workday. So whoever your leader is, it may be Todd Stiles, it may be Erica Boland, but call them right whenever you wrap up your day. You need to call them at least once per day. I tell new agents, call them twice. Call them in the morning, call them at night. Just like you're checking in with your basketball coach. Whenever you're playing professional basketball or college, like you literally talk to your coach every single day. Well, same thing here, guys. They're not your boss, they're your coach. They're here they have an invested interest, very motivated for you to do well. So you need to call them at least twice per day, just checking in. And it's not always talking about business. Sometimes it's talking about personal stuff, right? How are your kids doing? How was your son's basketball game last night? Whatever it is. But checking in every single day is very important with your coach, because if you don't call them, we're going to feel like you're not working. Okay. Number 6, your first 90 days is like on the job training. So spend minimum 30 minutes to an hour each night getting better. Writing out your sales talk, watching fit modules, just start doing fit modules. We have elevators, podcast, the whole 9 yards. Number 7, be present and participate in all the conference calls your first 90 days. Just have 100% participation and not just be on the call to be on the call, but actually be engaged on the call and be actively taking notes, writing things down. And I used to, when I was driving out to my territory, I would pull over at a gas station, write down what the speaker was saying, and then right when the call was over, pull back onto the highway, get back to my territory, right? So make sure that you're actually engaged on these calls is very important. Number 8, fill out your weekly game plan on Sunday, on either Saturday or Sunday before the week starts, so you know exactly what your week is going to look like. So that is very important. And guys, that takes time out of your weekend, 15, 20 minutes to actually sit down either Saturday or Sunday. I know for me, I send out that weekly game plan every single Saturday morning to our agency. So you guys all get it usually early Saturday morning. Actually spending the time to do that. It's just like every athlete does this. Every professional actor, every person who's like in a professional setting career, they all do this too. Okay, so we're the same way. These are things that it's not just us that do it. Literally everybody does it in a professional setting, getting your schedule for the week started. Here, your boss doesn't make your schedule for you. You create your own schedule, okay? And that's part 1 is creating your schedule. Part 2 is you got to work your schedule, okay? Number 9 is be open and honest. We will never know how to help you if we don't know what's going on. So feel free to reach out if we're having a hard time, okay? We will not come down hard on you. We want to hear what's going on. So, because we've probably been in a situation very similar to that, or we have had another agent in a similar situation. We can help you out, but just be honest with us. And number 10 is just do your dead level best. That's all we can ask, and it's what you and your family deserve. Do your best, okay? So those are the 10 things that if you do those, you're going to get your business off the ground. Now, here's some things that you can count on from your trainers and leaders. So here's 5 things. We will always be honest with you. We're going to be your coach, not your boss. So we're going to tell you things that you need to hear, not maybe that you want to hear. Okay. Just like if you had my basketball coach, Mr. Burrows was pretty hardcore in high school. And I remember he never told you things that you wanted to hear. He would, he was a very hardcore coach. So, but he told me things I needed to hear so I could get better. Okay. This is the same thing. Okay. Think about Nick Saban for Alabama. Do you think that he tells his football players what they want to hear? Do you think he babies them? Hell no. That's why they win national championships every other year, is because he's pretty honest with his players, very honest with his players. Number two, we will always match your effort. So from your leader to yourself, okay, we will always match your effort. If you're giving us 110%, by golly, we're going to give you 110%. If you're giving us 30%, we're going to give you 30%. Number three, we will never ask you to do something that doesn't work. We will never ask you to do something that doesn't work. It's proven system. You know, all the things that I do and say has been done 20 years before I started here. It's going to be doing 20 years after I leave, right? It's very set systems that we follow. Number four is we will never ask you to do something that we will not do ourselves, okay? We will always lead by example, okay? I am never scared to do something that I'm telling you to do. I promise you that. And number five, we will always support you. Even when you may doubt yourself, we will always support you through the good, bad, and the ugly. That's very powerful. So those are things that you can count on from your agency owner, from your market, regional, field directors, and everybody in our agency. Now, here's 5 little bonus things. I love this. Is actually probably my favorite part of the overall Sales Talk Review expectations call, because these are 5 extra things that you can do to guarantee yourself. If you want to be a top performer, if you want to be, you know, the rookie of the year, like what Caitlin Roberts was last year, you know, what CJ Clark was 2 years ago. This year, we're going to have probably 10 people, you know, really fighting it out to be rookie of the year. We got a lot of stud competition this year. But if you want to be the rookie of the year, you know, this is exactly 5 things that you can do to do that. So number 1 is work hard when nobody's watching you and push through when things are hard. So work hard when nobody's watching you and push through when things are hard. That's number 1. Number 2 is be a constant student of the game. Be a sponge. Always be trying to get better. Ask the most questions, because you will win. Be a constant student of the game, not just your 9 to 5 business hours, but even after hours. Okay. Number 3, a top producer, if they don't know something, they will write it down and figure out how to deal with it themselves, or they will reach out to their leadership team. So they'll write something down, figure out how to deal with it, or they'll reach out. They will not just sit in their car and be negative about it and be whining and making excuses. What Van calls being in what's called pity city is what he likes to say. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4 is a top producer always studies outside of work hours to get better, is expected. If you want to be a top producer here, you don't just do the bare minimum 9 to 5. Top producers here work outside of work hours. They study their craft, hone their skills, they listen to podcasts. They write down their buying atmosphere and, you know, word for word, they say it out loud when they're in a business, and they listen to it at night and have the sales talk piece out of it. Actually look at it, see how close it is to the sales talk. That's what top producers do here. Number 5 is have an ownership mindset. They make things happen versus waiting for things to happen. This is a business that just by being here, you know, you have to make things happen. Okay, not waiting for things to be given to you. Okay, so this is we're going to be pouring back into you, but you got to have an ownership mindset, because this is technically your business. Okay, we all have the same tools, we all have the same resources here. So those are. I'm going to pause real quick before we kind of talk about the Elevators podcast. But is there any questions or comments on that so far?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I just think
I know
it's
on Tuesday.
Kyle.
What was that?
I think it's just very important that people understand when they're starting off in this career that they have to give themselves grace. And just like you said, invest in the business, invest in yourself. You know, instead of getting on Facebook or something, you need to be then looking at your sales script, watching the videos, because those are the things that are going to make you continue to grow and get better and better each and every day.
So true, Brandy. Thank you for sharing that. Yep, that is so accurate, guys. And guys, really quick, we're going to talk 1 minute about the Elevators podcast. I got one little thing I'm going to talk on after this. But the Elevators podcast is monumental for everybody here. So there's also Sharpening the Saw on SoundCloud. That was pretty good. That's been around for about 5 years now. But the Elevators podcast has been about a year old now, I would say, a little bit less than a year old. Started in August of 2021. It is the best podcast in the history of family heritage. No joke. Okay, so I've listened to every episode 2, sometimes 3 times. Some of these episodes I've listened to 3 or 4 times actually, and they're gold. So like the very first, before you go to sales school, you need to listen to proper preparation, like before you even attend a sales academy. If you haven't listened to it yet, you've already gone to sales school, no worries, listen to it today. How to be successful here, episode 2. You need to listen to this 100% your first week. And actually the homework assignments that Nicole Danwood gives out, which we're going to talk about here in about 30 seconds, says this. Okay, that literally has the day that you should listen to. Simple, Not Easy by Dylan Buck. That is a great flipping businesses with clasp. I talked about this on a few of our Schneider agencies calls, and just copy what Amberly Kessler talks on here. She's a magician and it works. You know, everyday enrollments, how to have a full pipeline, how to have 2 to 3 to 4 enrollments every single week. Okay, how to walk into a business and set up an enrollment on the spot for that day or for that week, not for a month or 2 from now, but for like immediate success. That's what this is about. Everybody wants to do enrollments. That's called phase 2 of the career. This is exactly how to get good at setting up enrollments. Obviously, you got to know your sales talk like the back of your hand. But that's a very important episode. Run your business like a business. All these attitude, mindset. I love when Dylan, we talk. Van Davenport talks about goals, like everything here. And I'll listen to this last week, Rags to Riches, for like probably the 3rd time, about Tyler Grinder. He started this business the exact same time I did. He's one of my best friends. So guys, these are awesome. There's a lot of episodes on here. They talk about everything. Getting technical. If you want to get back to the basics, listen to Getting Technical Part 1. It talks about the how behind the why of the sales talk. You know, it talks about, you know, the sales talk very in-depthly and why it's scripted the way it is. And it goes over the sales talk word for word very slowly to get it down. Getting Technical Part 2. That's the second part of this sales talk. Atomic Habits, you know, Getting Technical Part 3. That's handling rebuttals, going through objections, you know, AFLAC objections, corporate objections, the whole 9 yards. If you're not good at objections, well, listen to Getting Technical Part 3 today and take really good notes and then implement it. So guys, there's so many more. This one, Nathan Tabori, I was listening to this on the way to the office this morning. Already listened to it probably 3 weeks ago when it first came out, but it's really good. Nathan Tabori, he worked here for 17 years and retired. He never has to make money probably the rest of his life. And now he's an artist doing his dream that he's always he's got his own art studio, and it's a great episode. Nathan's the man. Okay. Yep. So guys, invest in yourself. This is an awesome podcast. So there's one last thing we're going to talk about. And this is the actual homework assignments that Nicole Danwood sends out to you guys. When you're in your first 30 days on a weekly basis, you should be getting your homework assignments. So this is essentially what it looks like. This is not as pretty as a document that Nicole Danwood sends you, but this has just got the raw material. She's a lot better at putting things in a pretty format before she emails them out. But this is essentially the outline of the first 30-day homework assignments. So for all you new folks, we have 5 new agents. Today, you should be doing homework assignment number 1. You know, 30 minutes of sales talk, approaches 1 and 2, you know, listen to the Elevators podcast, first phase mentality, and 1 fit module. So that's your homework assignment for today, for tonight. This is exciting. After 5, and day number 2, which will be tomorrow, it's got it right here. And it's got all the way through your first 30 days of homework assignment. So I will share this. All the rookies that are protecting 2, 3, 4, 5 families a day, they're getting 6, 8 demos a day, they're doing these. Okay. Folks that aren't producing as much aren't doing these. Okay. So make sure you're in the first boat that you're actually doing these. And I promise you'll be thanking yourself 30 days from now when you're on an absolute tear, right? So remember, Rome was not built in a day. Okay. You're not expected to dominate here day 1. Now, some people do. Some people do dominate here day 1, and they actually crush it their very first day for the rest of their life. But not everybody falls in that boat. I was not in that boat. Okay. I had to work it brick by brick and really build the foundation. And these are just extra things as business owners. We can't do your push-ups for you. These are things that, you know, you as your own business owner that you should do to help get your business off the ground. So they're awesome, guys. A lot of these things I've been here for 8.5 years. You know, listen to the buying atmosphere, you know, doing the fit modules, Approaching by Brian Wilson and Van Davenport. That's awesome, guys. All these audios on here that you listen to are really good. They get you in the zone. Okay, so make sure that you're doing those. And it is 8:33, so I'm going to pause right there. If there's any other questions or comments on the Elevators podcast or the homework assignments, feel free to speak up.